Disney just destroyed Apple TV Plus. Hey there, friends on YouTube. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. This is your first time here. Thank you for stopping by. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back again. I really do appreciate it. Let's just get down to the business at hand. Now, if you've been paying attention, earlier this week, Disney unveiled its new streaming service that they're calling Disney Plus. It's going to be a competitor to all the other streaming services like Netflix and stuff. Most important to me is it's going to compete with Apple TV Plus, and that is probably really bad news for Apple. Disney unveils this service. They're charging $7 a month or $70 a year for it, which is cheap regardless of what you get. But considering what you get, it's unbelievably cheap. This is a service that's going to feature Marvel, Pixar, Star Wars, National Geographic, like all 30 seasons of The Simpsons. There's so much intellectual property, or as we call it in the industry, IP, that's going to be available on there for that low price. Also, Disney Plus will be the only place where you can stream Disney theatrical releases once they come to streaming services. So, Frozen 2, etc., Disney Plus. They've also got some major original programming planned. They got The Mandalorian, which is Star Wars based shoot 'em up kind of thing with Pedro Pascal, starring as a bounty hunter, sort of like Boba Fett. It takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So again, that can be fun. I mean, I like to fill out the timeline. And speaking of filling out the timeline, they're also going to have a prequel series based on the character from Rogue One, Cassian Andor. So I guess that'll happen before the movie because, spoiler alert, Cassian dies at the end. They're also bringing in 3 live action series drawing from the stars of the blockbuster Avengers/Marvel movies. You're going to have Loki with Tom Hiddleston. You got Falcon and Winter Soldier with the dudes that played those characters. And then you've got WandaVision, which is, I don't know why they call it that, but Elizabeth Olsen and her buddy Paul Bettany. Apple TV Plus is coming this fall and will feature original programming, of which we've barely seen a blip of anything. They did announce the service. They did trot out a bunch of famous people at the announcement who said they're really excited to do this thing that nobody can see yet. But considering what Disney just laid in the lap of everybody else in the world, Apple's going to have some struggles. At this point, it looks like Apple TV Plus is going to focus exclusively on original content, which is a weird model. At first, I thought maybe it would be good. Now I'm not so sure. I mean, we've got names like J.J. Abrams, Steven Spielberg, Oprah, Jason Momoa, Alfred Woodard, Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell back on the TV. These are all things that seemed exciting at the time. However, now it looks more like Apple has decided to create a streaming TV network that's more like network TV than anything else. And that doesn't sound so good now. Even with big names attached, Apple TV Plus is still kind of a black box. We don't know really anything about the shows or the scope or any of that stuff. Now, here's where this TV network model sort of makes me nervous, okay? So, little history lesson. Between 2009 and 2012, 65% of all shows on network TV were canceled in the first season. That's 2009 to 2012. 65% of the shows canceled. 7 years later, it's hard for me to imagine that the numbers are really any different. In fact, I would venture to guess that they're probably worse because there's so much more out there vying for our eyeballs in 2019. And so now that we've got Disney Plus on there, plus Disney's got Hulu and ESPN Plus, it seems weird to start a TV network based exclusively on new content when history shows us that more than 2/3 of all new content fails to last its first season. We have no reason to think Apple's planning anything on top of the original content that they've announced. And they did so at an event where they announced a lot of stuff, but nothing was released, and most things didn't have a release date, nor did they have a cost attached to them. And I went on record saying after that event that it was really much ado about nothing. Apple just spent 2 hours advertising nothing that exists. Even if the majority of these Apple shows are good, Apple has a couple of things working against it with this kind of network TV model. One It's yet another platform that people will have to opt into. Whereas, back in the old days, network TV was the only game in town, and still 65% of their shows failed. Number two, it's another subscription service on top of what already exists. I mean, how many monthly subscriptions can consumers handle before consumers start to say enough is enough? They get subscription fatigue and just decide to pare back to the things that they use the most. Netflix, of course, is a known quantity that has built its user base through syndicated content and later with their original content. I mean, Netflix was the OG streaming service, really. And it's going to be hard to pry eyeballs away from a service like Netflix when people are so invested in it and have been for so long. Apple, even with the big names, it's just not going to be enough. And now Disney dropped their service in there, and it looks like just an atomic bomb's worth of content on top of such a paltry little thing that Apple's offering. It looks like they're going to come out of the gate as a major force, pun intended, not only with their original content to build off of, but the already extremely popular franchises that I mentioned before. And most of that content available streaming-wise nowhere else. I mean, we're talking Marvel, Star Wars, Simpsons, Disney Animation, everything that entails. And, it's a lot of stuff, and Disney's basically giving it away for free. I mean, $7 a month, $70 a year. $70 is what you paid for your entire cable bill for 1 month. And now Disney's giving us all of this stuff. And Apple, what is Apple charging for Apple TV Plus? Well, we don't know. We don't know. But I'm willing to bet my left kidney that it's going to cost twice what Disney's charging. At least, my guess is $19.99. So what was already a head scratcher with no substance behind the Apple hype machine looks like it's going to leave the starting gate as an also-ran. I can't see Apple with original content really competing with what Disney is offering. Disney, the value they're bringing to the customer at such a competitive price, it just seems like Apple had a very little chance, a very slim chance of making it with their TV stuff, and now the door is closed. Even though Apple has 1 billion devices in the wild, as they like to remind us several times in that presentation, I can't see many of the people who wield those devices buying into a pretty much unknown quantity for yet another subscription price over Netflix, Disney, Amazon, all that other stuff. Apple had this slim window for success with their new streaming service, but given the fact that they couldn't even tell us what it cost, given the fact that they couldn't even show us any of the shows, and that they're bringing out what's a questionable, dated programming model, Disney just destroyed any chance that Apple TV Plus has to succeed. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear what you had to say. I did not expect Disney Plus to be as robust as it is, nor did I expect it to be even half as cheap as what they're offering. It's a major shot across the bow of all the other streaming services, but Apple explicitly, I think, is going to struggle the most because they don't have their product at market and nobody knows what their product is yet. If this was your first time here and you want to come back again, things you can do like subscribe, bell notify, all that kind of stuff. I'd love to see you back here again and join the Painfully Honest Tech community. If you've been here before, then you know how much I appreciate that. I really, 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 really do. And yeah, my name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out. Hey, you're still here and you haven't left yet, and maybe you want to watch another video. There are a couple of videos here that I suggest that maybe you want to check out. Also, hit me on the social medias over there, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'd love to have you back again sometime soon. Thank you so much for being here.